Okay, so Tanya for Wednesday, 6th day of Adar. We're continuing chapter 35. Notwithstanding our inner animal's instincts, we can facilitate the manifestation of the Shekhinah, the divine presence below, precisely by engaging the animal soul and body in the performance of action mitzvot in ways that even the divine soul cannot achieve. So if you are capable of using the animalistic soul to do mitzvah, it's something that the godly soul cannot accomplish on its own. Godly soul is godly. The animalistic soul being used to do a mitzvah, that's something that the godly soul does not have that capability. So, meaning notwithstanding, despite our animalistic instincts and desires, we can still use the animalistic soul to do good things. It says the meaning of this analogy, comparing the light of the Shekhinah to the light of a candle, is clear to every intelligent person, as the Alter Rebbe will conclude shortly after a closer examination of its details, just as it is true of the candle's flame. It does not shed light, nor is it retained by the wick without oil. Similarly, the Shekhinah does not rest upon man's body, which is compared to a wick, except through man's performance of good deeds. In order for the Shekhinah to dwell and reside on the body, it has to have masim tovim, it has to have good deeds. The body can only act as a wick, not as oil. It is a coarse, physical being which will not be absorbed within the light of the Shekhinah, but will always remain separate from it. The good deeds that man performs provide the oil. It is evident from the Zohar, however, that one's soul, although a part of God above, is insufficient to serve as oil for the wick. Even though the soul is very lofty, it's part of God, but it does not serve as oil for the wick. A question is implied here: why should the soul itself, divine and thus certainly suited to being absorbed within the light of the Shekhinah, require anything external, such as good deeds, to serve as oil for that light? Surely the soul itself constitutes the oil. But the reason for this, the Alter Rebbe now concludes the sentence begun earlier with the words, the meaning of the analogy is clear and understandable to every intelligent person. For the soul of man, even if the guy is a perfect tzaddik who serves God with fear and with pleasurable love, his love consists of delighting in the experience of godliness, a most lofty form of love. Nevertheless, it's not completely nullified to be one with the light of Hashem, to be absorbed within God's light, to be merged with it in a perfect unity. It is rather a separate entity which fears God and loves Him. Since it is not absorbed within godliness, as oil is absorbed within a flame, the soul cannot serve as oil for the light of the Shekhinah. Not so with mitzvot and good deeds. So we're mentioning two things over here. We have the neshama's connection with God, and we have the mitzvot and masim tovim connection with God. We're going to see that the connection of mitzvot and good deeds with God is greater than the connection that the neshama has with God. Why? Because the mitzvot and good deeds are the will of God. Not so with mitzvot and good deeds, which are God's will, each commandment representing God's desire that a particular act be performed. Now, God's will is the source of life for all the worlds and the creatures. They live only because God so desired. The difference between the divine will expressed in mitzvot and that same will as expressed in creation lies in the ladders descending to them by means of many contractions, many tzimtzumim, and by concealment of the countenance, the internal aspect of the supernal will, obviously concealed, with only the external, superficial aspect of God's will expressing itself in creation and through a descent from level to level. So the mitzvot and the good deeds are the will of God. What is the will of God? Is innermost. The pnimiyut, the inner and inner, you strip all the layer, you get to the will, right? And creation was only created through the external aspect of godliness. So we see that the connection that Hashem has with the mitzvot is greater than the connection that the neshama has with God. Okay? When it comes to the world, it has to go through many contractions until they can be created, yash me'ayin, something from nothing, v'davar nifrad b'fnei atzmo, and then they can become a separate entity, v'lo yibatlu b'metziut, and they should not be nullified, because if not for these contractions, they will be nullified completely. When it comes to creation, there is ester panim, there is concealment. When it comes to the mitzvot, there is no ester panim. The mitzvot are the will of God. When you learn halacha, and the halacha says you got to do A and not B, that's the will of God. There is no concealment. Nothing is hidden. It's revealed. God tells you, this is what I want. What Shulchan Aruch? Shulchan Aruch means a set table. It's prepared for you. So the world have concealment. Anything that was created, yash me'ayin, ex nihilo, something from nothing, is concealed. Is somewhat separated from Hashem because of all the because of all the contractions. To illustrate, by way of example, one engages in business so that he will realize a profit. Why are you going into business? To make profit, right? And thereby support his family, right? So you go to business to make profit, to support your family, okay? In all, he wants the business to prosper, wants the profit, and wants to provide for his family. Yet, his true inner will lies only in supporting his family. Truly he doesn't care about the business, and truly he doesn't care about the profit. What he really cares is to support his family. But he understands that in order to support his family, he has to have profit and he has to have a prosperous business. But the truth is, if you say, forget about it, you want to support your family, here's the money to support your family, you right away dump the business. He dumped the business, dumped the profit. He has what to support the family, that's it. Because the only reason why he got into business, and the only reason why he wants the business to succeed, and the only reason why he wants the profit is for his family. So what is the true will? It's not the business. It's not the meetings. It's not the success of the business. The true will is to support, to feed his family. Support them. His desire for profit is merely incidental, external. The fact that he wants the business to succeed, it's something external. It's not his essence. It's truly deep inside, he couldn't care less about this business. People have one business, next day they change the name, they go to a different business. Anybody, you find any guy in business, you ask him, how much did you make in the last 10 years? He tells you, I made 100,000. Tell him, here's another business, You're going to make 200,000. He dumps it in a second. He doesn't think twice. Why? This is 100, this is 200. So what does he really care about? The money. He doesn't care about the business.
But doesn't he want to know if he really is going to make 200,000?
No, let's say that truly he makes 200.
If it's truly?
He gets a call from Bill Gates. He knows it's a job in Microsoft. There's no no games. 200,000, 250, whatever he tells you. You know, one guy was called by Bill Gates to, not directly through him, he was called through his secretary. He was an Australian Jew, Chabad guy. They wanted him to give a lecture about some program that he built. And so they scheduled the day, and this guy saw, he needed to come to California or somewhere to give a lecture about this program that he has. And he saw that it was Saturday, it was Shabbat. So he told the guy who arranges it that he can't do it on Shabbat. They should push it for a different day. Now Bill Gates' schedule is pretty busy. It's not. I can't just say, okay, tomorrow. Tomorrow is busy also, and a week from now it's also busy. Talking about the times that he was the CEO also. So the guy thought that the Jew wants to make more money.
So he offered him more.
So he offered more money. So he said no. So he offered more money. He said no. He told him, we'll give you a blank check. You write on it as much as you want. How much you can write on the check? You're limited to 6 numbers, 7 numbers. You can't write more. Bill Gates he can even pay $1 billion. He has 100 of them. So he tell, we'll give you a blank check. Write whatever you want. Whatever you think it's worthwhile for you.
Just come inside.
Desecrate Shabbos, just come. Blank check.
Is he doing it in purpose?
I accidentally turned on a light. I'll take the $1 billion.
So he said, so the guy said, you don't understand, I'm not doing it for the money, I just can't. So the guy got so upset, because obviously people that live in this world, they can't really get this idea.
They can't relate to this.
Right, he can't relate to it. So he hanged up the phone. He thought the guy is more greedy and he wants more money. So he hanged up the phone, and they were in a meeting with Bill Gates, and they're flying together, and they spoke about different things, and then they mentioned that they want to have this guy coming, and he doesn't want to come on Saturday. So when Bill Gates heard it, he said that I'm happy to see that there's still people who have principles. He appreciated it, and he said, I'm happy to see that people have principles. There's certain things you won't do, even for a blank check. No. But even for a blank check, things. You can see the video. It's amazing. It's an amazing story. They changed it to a different date, and that's it. They changed it to a different date for him.
That was it. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Change it to his own date.
But in the truth is, what does the story tells you? The story tells you the point that we're trying to make. There is external will, and there's an inner will. External will is many times the things that we do. The inner will is what we really want, right? So what that guy really wanted is to be connected with God. He didn't care about another dollar. That's his inner will, and that's why he was not willing to let go. And for the other guy, he couldn't relate to it, because to him, the inner will is the money.
Yeah, probably he told him, it's my Sabbath and I don't work on that day.
He did. He explained to him nicely. We're not dealing with...
That's not Bill Gates, that's his representative.
Right, but when his agent went to Bill Gates and explained to him, then he
understood.
Of course.
So that stupid messenger that was relating back and forth, he didn't relate the message right to Bill Gates in the first place. He negotiated. No, he negotiated on his behalf. He negotiated. Right, whoever he is. He negotiated. But if he came in the first place and told him exactly what this guy is trying to do, he will add more money.
But they don't come to Bill Gates with these little things. They try to close it. Why? You can close You can't close a lecturer to come and give a lecture about something. You have to bring it to. Anyway, so too with the divine will as expressed in creation and as expressed in the mitzvot. The desire for creation is an external will. It is generated by the inner, ultimate desire the Jews observe the mitzvot, obviously an impossibility without a created world. Meaning Hashem wants us to do the mitzvahs. What is the external and what is the internal? Desire for creation, meaning Hashem wanted to have a world, is external. Meaning that's not the main thing, to have a world. It's external thing. But, so meaning the external world is generated by an inner will. The world is external will, generated by an inner will. There's something deeper why God created the world. Okay? What's the inner will? The inner desire. The Jews observe the mitzvot. That's why Hashem created the world. The Jews observe the mitzvot. But it's obvious that it's not possible for Jews to observe the mitzvot without a world. Without a body, without food, without sleep, without all these things. Because the mitzvot represents God's true inner will, and because in them there is no concealment of this will. In the mitzvot there is no concealment of the will of God, unlike the case in creation. In creation, it's external and therefore it's concealed. Therefore, the godly life force within them is by no means a separate entity. But is united with and contained within God's will, and they, the mitzvot, are truly joined in perfect unity with God's will. The resting of the Shekhinah means when we single out a specific object from a world filled with the Shekhinah by saying that the divine presence rests upon that object. We're singling out, we're saying the Shekhinah rests upon the ark, right? Its uniqueness lies in the revelation of godliness and the Ein Sof light in the particular object. This means to say that this object is comprised within God's light, it becomes one, and is nullified out of existence toward Him. It has no separate identity. For only then can one God rest upon it and reveal Himself in it. But anything not completely nullified out of existence toward the godly light cannot have God's light rest and reveal itself within it. So if you're not nullified, anything that is not nullified cannot have God's light rest and reveal itself within it. Even a perfect tzaddik who cleaves to Him with abundance love, no thought can truly grasp Him at all. For the true implication of the phrase God is the true God, or God is the true Lord, is His unity and oneness, that He alone exists, and there is absolutely nothing besides Him. As explained in chapter 20, the statement God is one means not only that He is the sole God, but also that He is the only being that truly exists. All else is totally nullified before Him. ואם כן, זה האוהב שהוא יש ולא אפס, זה מחשבה דילי, תפיסה בכלל. If so, the person who loves God and who is separate being rather than a non-entity, no thought of his can grasp him at all. ואינו השם שרו מתגלה בו אלא על ידי קיום מצוות. So the only way for the light of Hashem to reveal in him is the only through mitzvot. שאין רצונו וחוכמתו יתברך, which are the will and wisdom of God, bli shum ester panim, where there is no concealment. Concerning the aforementioned statement that the Ein Sof light reveals itself only within that which is totally nullified before God and absorbed within Him, the Alter Rebbe notes, "Chasher shamati Mori alav shalom." Alter Rebbe referring to the Magid that he heard from the Magid in Mezrich, the Talmid, the disciple of the Baal Shem Tov. Alter Rebbe was a disciple of the Magid. Pirush v'tam l'ma shekatuv b'Etz Chaim. He heard a commentary on what is written in Eitz Chaim, which is the commentary of Arizal, of Yitzchak Luria. She'or Sof Baruch Hu eno mityahed afilu b'olam hatzilut. It says the infinite light does not unite, the Ein Sof, the infinite light of God, does not unite itself even with the world of Atzilut, except by first vesting itself in the attribute of Chokhmah. So even for Ein Sof to enclose itself in the highest world, in the world of Atzilut, it has to contract itself into Chokhmah, and only then it's revealed in Atzilut, because it's not completely nullified. Therefore, it has to go through Chokhmah. The Magid explained the meaning of the Ein Sof vesting itself in Chokhmah, number one. And number two, provided the reason that it does not unite with Atzilut except by way of Chokhmah. So, number one, it tells us what does it mean to begin with, that Ein Sof vests itself in Chokhmah, in the world of Atzilut. And number two, why it has to be done that way. Why can Ein Sof, maybe we should say, why the Ein Sof does not vest itself in Atzilut, period. Why does it have to go contract itself into Chokhmah, Binah, and so on?
What does that look like, Rabbi? Ein Sof?
Ein Sof meaning limitless, limitless power, and infinite light that goes into a place of limitation. Goes into the first world, which is the world of emanation, which is godly world, but still it's a world that has relationship to our world. So it's somewhat a world that is limited. It's somewhat a limited reality. So the Ein Sof is a non-limited reality, and now it gives life to, according to Eitz Chaim, according to the writings of the Arizal, Ein Sof vests itself in the level of Chokhmah within the world of Atzilut.
What is that?
Chokhmah, wisdom, wisdom. The beginning,
What can you comprehend about the things that you know? If you're not a brain surgeon, you only know so much about the brain. But even the brain surgeon only knows so much. So you're
no, but when you say Chokhmah, it's usually, it speaks about the seminal, the beginning, the start. So this is because the Ein Sof is the true one.
Which means?
What does it mean? Ein Sof? Ein Sof is the true one, is Hashem. Which means that He alone exists and there is naught besides Him. There's nothing really beside Hashem. Because everything we see is fake. Why is it fake? Because it's not independent. Everything we see is dependent on Hashem. Constantly to give it life.
It's all contract.
So it's nothing really. It's nothing that we see is really true. Has a real entity.
That's why I love you guys.
No, think about if we all come together in order to hold something. We're holding an object. It's heavy. We're all holding it together. So after a while, people would think that this object is standing by itself because it's been up in the air for a long time. But we know that this object is not up in the air. We are holding it. So the same thing with the world. Once people understand that this reality is not meaning it's a true reality in the sense that we see it, but it's not a true reality in the sense that it's running on its own. It's constantly dependent on Hashem. So then you realize that nothing really, if this is how you judge a reality by dependent or independent, then nothing is really a true reality. Nothing, everything and anything is dependent on Hashem. Nothing can anybody say that he is independent. He can say it, but the truth is that he's not. Same way that, God forbid, people in the hospital are connected to the machine. If you disconnect the machine, they die. Same thing with Hashem. We are connected to invisible machine that keeps us going. It's a machine. There's a machine that keeps us going, but it's invisible. It's our neshama.
It's from Hashem, everything.
Yeah, and Hashem has the plug. He has the switch. The attribute of Chokhmah represents the perception of godliness as the sole existing being. So the attribute of Chokhmah understands this concept, right? It says the attribute of Chokhmah represents the perception, that the beginning, right, of godliness as the sole existing being. Meaning that's to know that Ein Od Milvado, nothing beside Hashem. Who gets it first? Chokhmah. Because you have to have Chokhmah to understand it. Same way like someone has the wisdom to say, I want to cut the middleman. I want to get to the guy who makes the product, right? And then a guy says, I'm going to be even smarter. I'm going to make the product myself, right? I'm going to go further and further to the beginning, where it's all starting, right? Like you have people who started working, they bought jewelry from, I buy jewelry from you, and I sell it to him. One day he said, you know what? I'm going to buy it from the guy you buy it from. And I go to the guy you buy it from. Then I say, I'm going to buy it from the guy he's buying it from. And I get to the factory. And I realize the factory is also making money. So I'm going to be the factory. Right? Now I'm the factory. That I'm going to make it and I'm going to sell it.
Not that easy,
right?
but
only
as far as you go is the factory. That's it. Buy from them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then you can become the factory.
If you have enough
Then you go
money.
mine yourself, pick up a shovel.
Right.
Go
You
find
buy the materials and put them together. That's what the factory is doing, right?
Buy the material and putting the window together.
So going into the beginning, what is the beginning? Who gets it that nothing is really existing besides Hashem? The oneness of Hashem is Chokhmah. This then is the meaning of the Ein Sof closing itself in the attribute of Chokhmah. The revelation of the Ein Sof as one alone, with naught besides him, and for this reason the Ein Sof does not unite with any world or level except by way of Chokhmah. So meaning, investing itself Chokhmah, the only one that really gets it is Chokhmah. For anybody to understand this concept, you have to have Chokhmah. The revelation of the Ein Sof, the one alone, saying that Hashem is the only one, Ein Od Milvado, with naught besides him, and for this reason the Ein Sof does not unite with any world or level except by way of Chokhmah. For as stated above, God abides, lives, may be united with only where there is no sense of self or separation from him. Chokhmah is nullification, is bitul. Chokhmah koachmah, right? We said, what is Chokhmah? The word koachmah. It's a power that, what is it? Only in that which is pervaded with the spirit of He alone and naught besides Him, and everything else is naught beside Him, and this spirit constitutes the attribute of Chokhmah as stated. The Alter Rebbe now returns to our subject of the light of the Shekhinah which rests upon men only through the mitzvot, which alone can serve as oil for this light. He points out that the effect of this light upon the person performing a mitzvah varies from one category of mitzvahs to another. והנה כשאדם עוסק במצוות, כשאדם עוסק בתורה, אזי נשמתו שהיא נפשו אלוקית עם שני לבושי הפנימיים לבדם, שהם כוח הדיבור ומחשבה, נחלאות באור אינסוף ברוך הוא מיוחדות בייחוד גמור. Anytime that you're learning Torah, your neshama, meaning your godly soul, with its inner garments, thought, speech, are now becoming one with the Ein Sof, are united, b'yechud gamur, within, they are united, they are merged within it in a perfect unity. This constitutes the resting of the Shekhinah on his divine soul. כמאמר רבותינו זיכרונם לברכה, גמרא עם ברכות, שאפילו אחד שיושב ועוסק בתורה שכינה עמו. Anyone who sits and learns Torah, even if he is learning Torah by himself, שכינה עמו. The divine presence is with him.
The divine presence.
אך כדי להמשיך אור והארת השכינה גם על גופו ונפשו החיונית הבעמית שיהיה החיונית המלובש בגופו ממש. Now I don't want just my godly soul to be an abode for the Shekhinah. I want also my animalistic soul. In order to bring it also to his body, צריך לקיים מצוות מעשיות הנעשות על ידי הגוף ממש. If you want the Shekhinah to rest on your body, also physically, you have to do mitzvot physically. צריך לקיים מצוות מעשיות. One must fulfill the practical mitzvot. שאז כוח הגוף ממש שבעשייה זו נכלל באור השם ורצונו מיוחד ובייחוד גמור. This is the point that we said in the beginning. In this way, by doing practical mitzvot, the actual power of the body engaged in this act, that you're doing it, doing the act, you're shaking the lulav, you're putting on tefillin, is absorbed in the divine light and will and merges within it in perfect unity. This power of the body constitutes the third garment of the divine soul. As mentioned in chapter 4, the divine soul expresses itself in the faculty of action through performing the mitzvot. Then in addition, the power of the vitalizing soul actually closed within the body, the power of that soul derived from Klipat Noga. It now is being transformed from evil to good, and absorbed into holiness exactly like the divine soul. For it is the power of the animal soul that implements and performs the act that constitute the mitzvah. שבלעדו לא הייתה נפש אלוקית פועלת בגוף כלל, כי רוחנית והגוף גשמי וחומרי. Without the body, the godly soul wouldn't be able to do anything. Because the godly soul is spiritual. And the body is physical, so the only one that can do it is the body. והממוצע ביניהם הוא נפש החיונית הבעמית המלובשת בדם האדם שבליבו וכל הגוף. The intermediary between them is the vitalizing animal soul closed in man's blood, which is in the heart and throughout his body. The nature of the animal soul is such that the coarsest, most material-like level of its spiritual substance is capable of clothing itself within the blood. Since the animal soul, the animalistic soul, is the divine soul's medium of affecting the body, its active power is also absorbed into holiness when one performs a mitzvah. Although the substance and essence of the animal soul in his heart, its evil midot, its evil emotional character have still not been absorbed into holiness. As explained in chapter 12, only in the case of tzaddikim are the evil midot themselves transformed into holiness. In others, only the animal soul's garments, its faculties of expression by means of which a mitzvah is accomplished, are absorbed into holiness, not the midot, which constitute the animal soul's essence. Nevertheless, this fact does not prevent the light of the Shekhinah from suffusing the entire body, as the Alter Rebbe concludes shortly. מכל מקום מאחר דהתכוון לקדושה ובעל כורחן עונין אמן ומסכימים ומתרצים לעשיית המצווה. Yet because the evil midot are subjugated to holiness, you are forcing them to do a mitzvah against their will. They say amen, agreeing and acceding to the performance of the mitzvah. על ידי התגברות נפשו האלוקית שבמוח ששליט על הלב, through the strengthening of the divine soul in the brain, which masters the heart. As discussed in chapter 12, although the emotions of the Beinoni have not been transformed into good, he nevertheless has the power to control them by means of his mind through contemplating Hashem's greatness. In this way, the Beinoni can direct his heart as he chooses, and as so far as the actual performance of the mitzvot is concerned. And the evil midot are at such time when one exercises the natural mastery of brain over heart, doing it kafia, by contemplating God's greatness. Contemplating God's greatness helps them to do iskafia. In a state of exile and sleep, impotent as mentioned above, therefore this incorrigible nature of the animal soul's evil midot does not prevent the Shekhinah from resting on one's body at this time. The Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain how it is possible for the mitzvah to draw the Shekhinah upon one's entire body. This resting of the Shekhinah means that the power of the animal soul, closed in the act that constitutes the mitzvah, for example, the power in the hand, donning tefillin, is actually absorbed into the divine light and merges with it in a perfect unity. Thereby one draws down a ray of the light wherein the particular power has been absorbed upon the totality of the animal soul throughout the body and upon the entire body as well. This ray of divine light illuminates one's animal soul and his body in a manner of encompassing from above, surrounding them from head to foot. This explains the expression appearing in the passage from the Zohar, quoted at the beginning of this chapter. The Shekhinah rests upon his head, specifically upon, encompassing him from above. And in a similar vein, the expression upon every assembly, the 10 Jews, every assembly of 10 Jews, the divine presence rest, means that the light of the divine presence does not permeate them, but illuminates them from above. Here, too, for various levels in the resting of the Shekhinah have been discussed as it rests upon the divine soul, upon the specific faculty of the animal soul that performs the mitzvah, upon the animal soul as a whole, and upon the body. The latter two only encompassed by but not permeated with the light of the Shekhinah. As to the light of the Shekhinah encompassing the body, within this level we find further subdivisions. That level which is the effect of a mitzvah, that which encompasses any gathering of 10 Jews, even when not engaged in a mitzvah. And perhaps we may distinguish yet another level, that which rests upon even one individual Jew, even when he is not occupied with a mitzvah. None of these various forms in which the light of the Shekhinah is manifested, meaning the ways in which the Ein Sof light is revealed, God, the Ein Sof, is everywhere. It is only that He is concealed from His creatures. The uniqueness of the manifestation of the Shekhinah lies in the revelation of the Ein Sof. Can be construed as a change in himself or as a plurality. Kedeita b'Sanhedrin, as the Gemara in Sanhedrin said, Amar le'aumina le'Rabban Gamliel. It says in Tractate Sanhedrin that a certain heretic said to Rabban Gamliel, Amritu kol be'asara shchinta sharia, kama shchinta yitlechu. You say that the Shekhinah rests on every assembly of 10. How many Shekhinahs do you have? Right? Ve'ishiv lo mashal me'or hashemesh hanichnas b'chalonot rabim. Rabban Gamliel replied with an analogy of the sun's light which enters through many windows. Are you going to say there's many suns? Because the sun, the light of the sun, enters many, many windows of many buildings at the same time, will you say that there is a lot of suns?
No. One sun.
Despite the multitude of windows, there is but one light. The same holds true even where the light appears differently from place to place. Sunlight shining through stained glass windows of various hues remains nonetheless unchanged, though it takes on the multicolored appearance of the windows, as does also water in a colored glass. Once removed from the glass, it appears in its pristine clarity. So too with the various modes in which the light of the Shekhinah is manifested. The light remains the same without change or division. Any differences in manifestation are attributable only to the way the light is received by the object, which it is manifest. V'amaskil yavin, and the intelligent will understand, and as Hasidim would add, the devout will perceive. Ruchem to you.
Thank you very much. It was a nice long